Good morning, and we welcome all of you to today's council meeting. Looks like a pretty festive group today, so we will jump in there and call the meeting to order. With us today is Charlie Davidson of our police department to provide an invocation, and following his invocation, we will have a pledge of allegiance, and we invite you to join us for both of those. Charlie, great to have you this morning.
Thank you. Good morning. If you bow your heads with me, please. God, we thank you for this morning, this time that we have to come together in this council meeting, and those that could come, those that join us from afar. Lord, we pray that you continue to give guidance to our leadership, our directors, our city manager, the directors of our departments, our city council, our mayor. Lord, I pray that you continue to give them the wisdom, the courage, the strength, and the guidance to continue to lead this great city. The Bible says, where two or more gather, you are there. As we come together and worship and we come together, I pray that today your presence is here as we consider business of this city. And Lord, that we continue to guide this city along your truths, along your ways. And just pray for them and continue to lead them. And I lift them up to you and pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you again, Charlie. We appreciate you. We have the approval of the minutes of September 25th, 2018. Any changes or corrections? Seeing none, I move that we approve the meeting minutes for September 25th, 2018.
Second.
Motion and a second. Cast your vote. Motion passes 7-0. And we have a couple of proclamations this morning. Our first proclamation is for the Indigenous Peoples Day, so I could have all of those here join me up at the podium that would like to. We have Newman Washington, Melinda Ware, Mark Brown, Deanie Eaton, DeWitt, Demibo, Becky Jones, Katrina Redwillow, Hollis Stabler, Hazel Stabler, Gracie Harvey, Michaela Cruz, Jennifer Wright, Eugene Cameron, Vonnie Long, April Scott, all of the Mid-America All-Indian Center. So if you'll come around to the back. Great to have you all this morning. So I have a proclamation from the city of Wichita, Kansas, founded in 1870. Whereas Indigenous Peoples Day was first proposed in 1977 by a delegation of native nations to the United States, sponsored International Conference on Discrimination Against Indigenous Populations in Americas. And whereas the city recognizes the fact that Wichita is built upon the homelands and villages of indigenous peoples of this region. And whereas historically the city has embraced our local indigenous peoples' culture, particularly the work of Black Bear Bosun, who's keeper of the plains, is not only part of our city's skyline, but a prominent symbol of our city. And whereas the indigenous people were promised security and protection though were forcibly relocated and their land seized to allow for European settlements. And whereas the city values the many contributions made to our community through indigenous people's knowledge, labor, technology, science, philosophy, arts, and the deep cultural contributions that has substantially shaped the character and landscape of the city of Wichita. And whereas the city of Wichita encourages businesses, organizations, and public entities to recognize Indigenous Peoples Day, which shall be used to reflect upon the ongoing struggles of Indigenous people on this land, and to celebrate the thriving culture and value that our Indigenous nations add to our city. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Jeff Longwell, Mayor of the city of Wichita, do hereby proclaim October 8th, 2018 as Indigenous Peoples Day and call upon the people of Wichita to celebrate the thriving cultures and values of the indigenous peoples of our city, and strongly encourage community members, schools, businesses, public and private organizations, and other community partners to join communities across America in recognizing and promoting the well-being and understanding of the contributions of our indigenous communities. And I will provide this proclamation to you, and would you like to say a few words?
I want to thank everyone that had a part in making this happen. And on behalf of my Uncle Black Bear Boson and my mother, Betty Nixon, who were very integral parts of seeing the Indian Center come to pass, I want the city of Wichita, the mayor, the city council to know that this has been a long time coming, and thank you so much for making it happen.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you all.
Nice to meet you. Thank you all for being here. Thank you. Thanks. Just leave it here. Appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thanks.
Our next proclamation is for Chiropractic Health Month, if Dr. Brian Asbury can join us. Good morning. The proclamation from the city of Wichita reads, whereas the Kansas Chiropractic Association, founded in 1911 as the oldest state chiropractic association in the United States, promotes, protects, and preserves the art, science, and philosophy of the chiropractic profession in the state of Kansas. And whereas Kansas doctors of chiropractic are physician-level providers who focus on the whole person and their conservative approach to health care and pain management, and have particular expertise in the prevention, care, and rehabilitation of disorders of the musculoskeletal system and the nervous system, and the effects of those disorders on general health. And whereas doctors of chiropractic are recognized worldwide for their health-enhancing and injury prevention services, which help people to heal naturally, often without the need of unnecessary drugs and surgery, and to resume their regular activities of daily living sooner. And whereas the research that validates the effectiveness of chiropractic services resulted in respected healthcare organizations recommending chiropractic and other conservative pain management options as a first line of defense against pain. I need a first line defense against Meitzner. Whereas Chiropractic Health Month 2018 serves as a reminder to all citizens that conservative treatments for pain such as chiropractic services may potentially lessen or eliminate the need for riskier, potentially addictive treatments such as prescription opioid pain medications, and should be thoroughly exhausted whenever possible before initiating opioid therapy. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Jeff Longwell, Mayor of the City of Wichita, along with the Wichita City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2018 is Chiropractic Health Month, and urge all citizens to learn more about the conservative approach to pain management and recognize the doctors of chiropractic for their continuing efforts on behalf of all Kansans. And give you the podium.
Thank you. I didn't bring as many people with me. I'm joined today by Dr. Barbara Quadlander, member of the Kansas Chiropractic Association. Mr. Mayor and members of the council, thank you for joining the members of the Chiropractic Association of Kansas in proclaiming October as the Chiropractic Health Month here in Wichita. Doctors of chiropractic focus on the whole person with their non-invasive, non-drug approach to healthcare and pain management. National Chiropractic Health Month is a time when chiropractors around the United States remind their patients and inform the public that spinal health is not only important when your back hurts, but is an important part of overall health. The Kansas Chiropractic Association wishes you good health and reminds Wichitans to get adjusted. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, we have an award from the American Heart Association, Workplace Health Achievement of Bree Pringle and Bree's friends. Bree couldn't show up?
No, I'm Bree.
Oh, you're Bree.
Our board president, Linda Newman, is going to present the award.
Very good. I'll turn it over to
Good
you.
morning. Good morning. My name is Linda Newman, and I chair the American Heart Association, the local chapter here, and I'm joined, oh, you're not coming up? Okay, that's all good. Kate Baker, one of our board members as well. Good morning, Mrs. Magana. Yes. It is our pleasure to congratulate the City of Wichita for earning the American Heart Association's Bronze Level Workplace Health Achievement Recognition. We know that good health is good business, and you have reached an important milestone in building a culture of workplace health. Studies show that work sites with comprehensive policies and programs and leadership support are more likely to have engaged employees and a healthier, more productive workforce. The association's Workplace Health Achievement Index allows companies to measure the effectiveness of their workplace health programs, as well as the overall heart health of their employees. Unlike other existing organizational scorecards, the index also scores companies on the heart health of their employees based on Life's Simple 7, the association's scientifically validated definition of ideal heart health. Here we go. The key factors contributing to optimal heart health include smoking cessation, which is hard, maintaining a healthy weight, which is always hard, staying physically active, eating a healthy diet, which is often hard, managing blood pressure, lowering cholesterol, and keeping blood sugar at a healthy level. Scientific research shows that improving these 7 factors can lead to significant reductions in heart disease, stroke, cancer, and many other health problems. In addition, people who achieve ideal cardiovascular health by age 50 have a significantly lower risk of heart disease and stroke and live on average approximately 10 years longer than people with 2 or more risk factors. More than 1,000 companies across the United States received recognition as a 2018 Workplace Health Awardee. And we are thrilled to congratulate the City of Wichita, now get this, as our only awardee in Central Kansas and one of only 3 in the entire state. I think the other 2 were in Lenexa, so that's pretty good. The American Heart Association congratulates the City of Wichita and thanks you for their efforts in cultivating healthier workplaces and communities as part of our mission to build a culture of health and well-being throughout the country. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Mayor, we'll get you a list, that list. So
That list?
Yeah.
It's probably not a coincidence the first time we get this after Cindy Claycomb comes on the bench. Madam Clerk, can you call the next item, please?
Lonnie Wright, 20 years of attending city council meetings.
Mayor, City Council, this month marks 20 years that I've been regularly attending city council meetings. So, well, thank you. There's been some entertainment involved, a lot with learning. But I just wanted to review some of the things that I've observed that's happened. 20 years ago, when I first started attending, we couldn't get the agenda sheets, the staff reports that you get when you make decisions. At the time, I was a supposed hotshot law student, and I brought up the Open Records Act and said, you have to. Then it became a contest going up to city clerk. They're saying, well, they already sent them to city council office. I go to city council, and they said, well, they're all gone. I gave that up. We also had agenda reviews. They wouldn't let me go to that. I said, well, we have the Open Meetings Act. So then it would become a process of they wouldn't tell me where the meetings were. That all changed when City Manager George Cole came. I renewed my request, and right away he said, yes, let the citizens have that. And I appreciate all the city managers have continued that transparency ever since. At that time, there was a movement for government efficiency. And of course, dealing with citizens and citizen boards slowed down staff. And so we had several boards that were closed. And we had a sunset clause that every board would be shut down unless it was renewed. And we lost our citizen participation organizations that had real authority on voting. And we had our DABs. Then we got Sharon Fury on the council, and she refused to vote on an agenda item unless it went through her DAB first. So that started going to that DAB, and now that's kind of a standard for all the staff, even the planning commission. Everybody wants to know, what does this DAB have to say? And that's important, and you will even reserve thinking about it. I've observed a lot of speakers. A lot of them kind of hurt themselves. They'll talk so long you forget what their point made. They'll insult or they attack as a way to communicate. But there has been some good speakers. I think the best citizen speaker I've heard has been Larry Weber with the Garvey Center. The best staff speaker, I think, has been Joe Pager. There have been a couple of humorous moments. Back when Bob Knight was the mayor, he was, he came from deep poverty, and he was very aggressive and committed. And we had Councilmember Joan Cole, and she knew just how to pull Bob's string. And so she would make some kind of neutral comment that would just set Bob off. He knew what she was doing, and he just couldn't control himself, and Joan would just kind of put her hand on her chin and grin, while Bob went on. We had a guy whose pants fell down. He's in a baggy suit, and he used his hands a lot as he was talking. But as we watched in the back, his pants started falling down. They got down below his coat. We could see his boxer shorts. They finally get down to his knees. He doesn't stop talking. He tries to grab his pants, but they go to his ankles, continues to talk. So those were some of the humorous moments. The council person, I think, that has made the most dramatic difference in her district has been LaVonta Williams. She was a school teacher, and when she came on, when people would come up with her, I kind of thought, strange ideas, she would listen to people. Instead of telling them why something couldn't be done or the obstacles, she would listen and encourage. And I watched that district build up so strong. It's certainly our most active district. Almost a little bit too active. but it is a real strong district, and she made a big change. My concern has always been with our citizen boards and wanting people to participate. It is so easy to get involved with government and make your voice heard. I see the changes all the time, and I want to encourage people to do that, but it's been difficult. Janet Miller has given us a civic engagement class, which is the best thing that I've seen to help people learn how complicated our government is and all the issues were involved. And I hope that continues. They're in their second program now, and I hope that continues. So I just wanted to pass on some of the mark. I've always felt all of our council members have been honest and trustworthy and really take dealing with the citizens seriously. And I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, next speaker, please.
Sherry LaFond, Wichita Housing Authority in RAD.
Hi, Sherry LaFond. Did you need my address? 3617 East Funston, Wichita, Kansas. Okay. I'm going to read this letter that I had written. My mom is a tenant at Greenway Manor. It is a city-owned, HUD-funded, and WHA, Wichita Housing Authority administrating agency. On 6/7/18, the fire department responded to an alarm at Greenway Manor, my mom's apartment. It was a stove issue, smoke only. I notified Captain Conover that 2 days prior we had a stove fire, which we were able to contain, and we assumed was human error. However, this time we felt that the stove had a design defect, which turns on if it is bumped or brushed up against, especially when reaching overhead while accessing the cabinets. Captain Conover said that it should be unplugged. He moved the stove forward, and the top burner came on. He started to grab the top of the stove to help pull it forward. I yelled at him not to touch the top because it was on. He said that he did not touch the controls. My friend and I both told him that we knew he had not turned them on, but that it was on. He looked and saw that the stove was on. He said that it was dangerous and needed to be replaced. He then unplugged it. We notified Wichita Housing Authority employee Leon on 6/7 regarding Captain Conover and the stove. Wichita Housing Authority inspected the stove and could not get the stove to malfunction. They determined that it was safe and refused to replace it. WHA was also notified that tenants in 208 and 510 also had the same problem with their stove. Since this time, 2 other tenants have told me that they also have a problem with the stove turning on. WHA procrastinated waiting for the fire department reports, had employee meetings, and then made the decision not to replace the stove. I spoke with WHA Gail Watson and provided her with the model numbers and serial numbers. Pat Orinder notified me that if I was not satisfied with WHA's decision, that I had to speak with John Hall, WHA's director. Pat said that John would be sending me a letter. To date, I have not received one. I went to WHA, stopped John Hall, and directly asked him to speak with me. He refused, saying that he was going to a meeting, and referred me back to Pat because she could take care of it. This was the same excuse that he provided me previously when a water pipe had burst inside the wall of my mom's apartment closet, leaving a mess, and WHA's lackadaisical response to address and clean up. I had left voice messages and written messages requesting a meeting with John, and I did not receive a response. When I complained to staff about my request being ignored, I was told that all they could do is keep taking messages for him because he is a very busy man. On 7/28/18, all Greenway Manor tenants, 6 floors, were evacuated due to a stove fire. After the fire, WHA replaced the tenant stove with the same brand that I believe to have a design defect. Approximately 5:30 a.m. on 7/30/18, Police Officer Thomason called the fire department and requested a citizen's lift assist because Curly, a tenant, was in a power mobility chair. My mom, age 82, and Curly, age 83, my mother's boyfriend, and who we considered our dad, both had extensive health issues which would have been detrimental for them to be placed in a hotel. So as power of attorney for both of them, I made arrangements with WHA to have them transported to my home, understanding that I had no ramp and that we required a lift assist. On 8/1/18, WHA Brad Snap called saying that transport was coming to pick Curly up. My sister told him that he needed a portable ramp. Brad said that no one had told him. Hours later, Pat, WHA, had also said that transport was on the way. I told her Brad had already contacted us and we notified him of the ramp situation. She said that she had forgot about the issue. I told Pat to work with the numerous other tenants to get them home and that Mom and Curly could stay with me. I told her I would contact her on Monday, 8/6, to give her time to locate a ramp. She agreed. On 8/6/18, I called Pat and left messages without a response. So the same day I called Leon with WHA, notified him of the situation. Leon told me that due to the liability, WHA probably could not help even when WHA approved it. On 8/6/18, late afternoon, I reached Pat. I was told that since I had made the decision to take them to my home instead of the hotel, that I was on my own. I reminded her that it was a medical decision as a POA and not a personal one because it would have placed them in jeopardy. I reminded Pat that WHA had no problem transporting Curly, thanking me for helping them repeatedly, agreeing to search for a ramp on 7/30/18, delaying his return home so that she could continue to search for a temporary ramp, and at no time did she mention that I would be totally responsible for making a medical decision that WHA signed off on and assisted me in implementing. WHA assigned a senior companion, Gay, to help seek a resolution, which she was unable to do. I had already contacted all the agencies that she had suggested. Curly was missing his home and the companionship of the other tenants. He was eager to return home because his health was fading. On 8/10/18, I was very frustrated and angry with WHA's lack of empathy and humanity. I went to the firefighters' administration offices. I found out that they actually do respond to requests to do a citizen's a lift assist, contradicting information provided to me by a firefighter on 7/30/18. On 8/10/18, I went to the city hall.
Can you wrap up pretty quickly? You've used your 5 minutes.
I did?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. Well, I'll just say I went to City Hall and found out what the John Hall's responsibilities are. And one of those is to have a hearing to resolve client complaints and problems, and he neglected to do that. He insisted we follow the guidelines, and he fails to follow them himself. 8/10, I also went to a meeting with Cindy Clegg-Home and them, and then I basically wasted my time, and she told me to write a letter, maybe send it to him. So that was a waste of time. 8/13, I called the fire department and had them come out and go ahead and do a citizen's lift to get Curly home. And so what I want to tell you is on 8/16, I called hospice to evaluate Curly on 8/17. On 8/19, hospice signed off on his care. 8/22, Curly was transported to respite care. 8/24, Curly actually died. So the city was complicit in preventing Curly from enjoying the last month of his life by refusing to help him returning home. They behaved inhumane and disgusting. WHA received 2 weeks that he could not stay in his apartment and refused to honor their commitment to return him home.
Okay, how much time do you need?
Just maybe one or 2 minutes.
How about 30 seconds?
Well, okay.
Would it help?
My point is, I came to a bad meeting on 3/20/18, and I was excited about the monies, the funding, in order to go ahead and get stuff done at Greenway. But I don't see how that's going to get done. Greenway has a lot of issues. The biggest issues is what I wanted to address. It's infested with bed bugs, roaches. They're in the walls, the electrical wiring, the plumbing, the carpeting, the furniture, and the smoke detectors. There's rusted pipes inside the walls. I absolutely do not know how they're going to do that or eradicate it or fix it without complete demolition. My point is to put a substantial amount of money in an apartment like that.
Could you do this for me?
I'm sorry?
Could you do this for me?
What?
Could you leave your comments with the clerk? We'll pass them, make copies, pass them around to the council, and have staff look at those and respond.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah, my theory is like if you want people to love where they live, is what John's saying, then take care of them and just do the right thing, because it's the right thing to do.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, next speaker.
George Theo Harris, dealing from Peter to pay Paul.
George Theo Harris, 2115 South Chautauqua, Mayor, City Council, City Manager, City Legal. And also, Brandon Johnson's doing a great job in District 1 following in Levanta's footsteps. I want to make mention of that. I want to start out explaining, I used to see citizens come in here and slam the council and always thought they won't get anywhere doing that. Then I started to try and be nice and caring and concerned and thought, oh, they will listen to me and do the right thing. Boy, was I mistaken. I'm not getting anywhere either. You would tell me they had an it, and, or but out of place, and they then became unbelievable. Well, not the case today, as all my its, ands, and buts are correctly placed. So please listen and make a difference as only you 7 can. I have been asking for help at Animal Control for the last 4+ years. I have talked with the city manager in person and on the phone several times. On Friday, September 14th, I talked with the postmaster at 1 p.m. It wasn't just 4 years ago that then postmaster wouldn't even return a phone call to the police chief. Last fiscal year, they had 18 bites or attacks to their carriers. It ended on September 30th, 2018 with only 12, a third reduction. A larger than postcard went to 191,000 addresses they delivered to. I asked him to go to a bigger card. He listened. A big cost, but 6 less carriers affected. Then at 3:25, the same day, the city manager said I called him incompetent. 4 years I've tried to get Mr. Layton to overhaul animal services. I've had 5 different attacks personally in the last 4 years, and Animal Services has botched every one of them. An attack per city code is section 6.04.010 under definitions. So no, I wasn't bitten and have not been in 61 years, and I'd like to keep that record going. 1.5 years ago, 2 little boys were hit by a car as they were fleeing from a running at large dog, which chased them into the street, injuring one while killing the other boy. 2.5 years after something should have been done, considering my 4-year continued effort in these matters. And giving shelter operations to a third party will not work, won't save any money. Currently, victims of attacks, bites are not notified when a dog deemed dangerous is released back to the owner. This is just wrong and needs to be addressed immediately. Same dog attacked me 16 days apart. My second attack attacked Janet, my fiance. Animal service supervisor said, "Have to tell you, I find it hard to believe that this dog is aggressive." Inasmuch as saying Janet and I were lying. I've asked for a polygraph, and in the 6+ years I've known Janet, she has never close to told a lie other than to tell people that I'm handsome. This was sent to me from the chairman of the Animal Service Advisory Board. I would not consider this dog a threat. Are Janet and I going to get some sort of formal apology, and are they going to go through some type of Animal Behavior 101 class so they know that dogs act differently in different environments? Also, not to doubt and then call pillars of the community confused or exaggerating an animal attack. Around 1,000 bites or attacks per year is unacceptable. The court's not adhering to shall fines. The one a dog attacked with no bites 4 times. Shall fees should have been $2,750, yet the prosecutor and judge levied only $250 and ignored the shall part of the ordinance. City legal told me that I questioned why only 1 attack. They didn't want the 13-year-old to miss any more school. Not true. Mother told me she wasn't ever approached, or was it even given consideration, as court is at 3 p.m. and her daughter gets off at 3 and would miss very little school. City manager told a source his biggest regret was not putting police recruit class in while waiting for the new training center. My biggest regret is my neighborhood was less safe because of this. These substations need to be put between Hilltop and Plainview, not by his house. So let's pull off the Band-Aid and raise the mill levy for fire, police, and animal control and be done with it. Stop stealing from Peter, other departments, and paying Paul. This city council can do this without a vote from citizens for public safety, and we need to, because we are not safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, next speaker.
Tremaine Paul Longer, working age requirements for the police department.
And I don't believe Tremaine is here. So, Madam Clerk, next agenda item.
Consent agenda items 1 through 16.
Any items need to be pulled on consent agenda? Seeing none, I move that we approve consent agenda items 1 through 16.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Cast your vote.
Councilmember Meitzner. Thank you.
Motion passes 7-0. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
DER 2017-03 Delano Neighborhood Plan.
Good morning, Mayor, City Council. Scott Knable with the Metropolitan Area Planning Department. The Delano Neighborhood Plan has been brought to you a couple times before and has been deferred as the city continues discussions regarding the Lawrence Dumont Stadium project. We are recommending once again that this item be deferred. The agenda report says to November 6th. However, that item or that meeting is reserved for a single item, and so the recommendation is changing to defer this item to November 13th. The intention is that staff will have some conversations with the steering committee that helped prepare this plan and discuss the RFP that is out for the stadium design and the concepts that it has, and see if there are some changes that would need to be made to this neighborhood plan before it's adopted. With that, I'll stand for questions.
Any questions at this point? We will go out to the public. Anyone like to address the council on this agenda item? Seeing none, we'll bring discussion back to the bench, and we'll turn it over to Councilmember Claycomb and Councilmember Blueball, who can make a motion. Go ahead, Cindy.
So I'd like to take the staff recommended action to defer the adoption of the Delano Neighborhood Plan 2018 until November 13th.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Cast your vote. Motion passes 7-0. Madam Clerk, next item.
Public hearing and issuance of industrial revenue bonds, Greater Wichita YMCA.
Good morning, Mayor and City Council members. I'm Tim Goodpasture with the City's Office of Economic Development. For the record, the item before you today is a request for the issuance of industrial revenue bonds for the Wichita YMCA. The YMCA in Wichita was founded in 1885. It is a 501c3 not-for-profit organization that has 6 facilities in Wichita and whose programs include promoting healthy lifestyle, strong families, and youth development. On May 8th of this year, the City Council approved a letter of intent to issue tax-exempt industrial revenue bonds in an amount not to exceed $25 million. The funds would be used for 2 projects. One is the renovation and expansion of the East YMCA. The other is the construction of a new facility at Wichita State University's Innovation Campus. The first project, the East YMCA, is a 13,000 square foot facility that was built in 1996. And the intent is to renovate the existing facility as well as adding approximately 7,000 square feet at a cost of $7.5 million. The facility would be expanding its early learning and family centers, expanding and renovating its fitness facilities, and improving traffic flow for safety purposes in its parking lots. This is an image of the existing East YMCA, and this is an architectural rendering of what the renovated facility would look like. These are additional architectural renderings of what the facility would look like. The second component is the construction of a new facility at Wichita State University's Innovation Campus, of a facility that could be up to 70,000 square feet at a cost of $17.5 million. The facility would serve all of the WSU students as well as families in the area. The facility would include approximately 15,000 square feet for a health and wellness facility, as well as approximately 4,000 square feet for a facility that would be run by Wesley Hospital for an urgent care facility. The funds for IRBs, the tax-exempt IRBs, would not be utilized to fund the construction of the Wesley component of this facility, as it is a for-profit facility. All WSU students that are paying fees to attend Wichita State would have access to all of the area YMCAs as part of this expansion. In partnership with Wichita State, the YMCA has developed after-school programs that include educational and recreational activities for kids, and they are estimating that there could be up to 100 full and part-time jobs as part of this expansion. This map shows where the facility would be located. At the top of this map is 21st Street. On the right-hand side is Oliver. The area in gray at the top of this facility is Eck Baseball Stadium. So directly south of that is where the where the YMCA facility would be located. These are some images of what the facility on the WSU campus would look like. There is no property tax being requested as part of this IRB issuance because the YMCA is a 501c3 and therefore eligible for a property tax abatement in its own right. The estimated sales tax exemption for this request for the city is approximately $82,000. Therefore, it is the staff's recommendation that the City Council close the public hearing and place on first reading the bond ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of documents for the issuance of tax-exempt industrial revenue bonds in an amount not to exceed $25 million for the Greater Wichita YMCA and authorize the necessary signatures. Ron McMahon, who is the CEO, and Shelley Hammond, who is the CFO for the YMCA, are here and can answer any questions specific to the company, and I would be happy to stand for any questions as well.
Any questions? None at this point. We'll go out to the public. Anyone like to address the council on this agenda item? Seeing none, we'll bring discussion back to the bench. Probably should hand this over to our healthiest council person, Councilmember Claycomb.
Okay, well, this is in District 1 and District 2. Maybe
We don't care about
We
one
don't
or
care.
two. We care about health.
All right.
No, anybody can make a motion.
All right.
Councilmember Meissner, do you want to make a motion?
All right. I recommend that the City Council close the public hearing and place on first reading the bond ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of the documents for the issuance of tax-exempt industrial revenue bonds in an amount not to exceed $25 million for the Greater Wichita YMCA and authorize the necessary signatures.
I'll second that.
Actually, since Councilmember Claycomb worked for Wichita State, that's appropriate.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second. Brandon, who's not as healthy as Claycomb, are you still good?
I need to go work out.
Cast your vote. Motion passes 7-0. Madam Clerk, next item.
Approval of travel for Vice Mayor Fry and council members Jeff Blubaugh, Cindy Claycomb, and Brandon Johnson to travel to Boise, Idaho with the Chamber for City to City, October 10th through 12th, 2018.
I move that we approve the travel for the council members, and just a side note that we have asked two of the council members to pay for part of their own expenses because we budget for two, and so they have taken us up on that offer, and we appreciate that. But a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Cast your vote. Motion passes 7-0. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Council member appointments and comments.
Any appointments, comments today? No one had the opportunity to witness my grand champion showing of goats last week. I'm now known as the Goat Whisperer, Robert. What I have found is animals have this keen sense of knowing the good in people, and so the goat and I bonded. Councilmember Claycomb. Councilmember Claycomb.
I do want to mention that we had a great groundbreaking yesterday for Botanica and for the new carousel garden. I thank the mayor and vice mayor for attending.
Yes, that's going to be a nice addition to our city. Motion that we adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Enthusiastically cast your vote. Motion passes 7-0. We are adjourned. I was sure somebody would have voted no.
Really, the goat and you bonded? That's just bad.